Partners develop negative ideas about their relationship and about themselves. And finally, those negative mindsets lead to even more poor coping strategies. One thing we hear about a lot is conflict. There's a lot of arguing. And this looks like, if we had had pistols in our house, this looks like something my husband and I could have engaged in. If you can't see it, he's bending over to answer the phone and while she's still aiming and hitting the lamp instead of him. And he says, as a matter of fact, you did catch us at a bad time. And some people with ADD will be very defensive about any criticism. And this cartoon kind of reminded me, biting my head off at the least whiff of criticism, and his head is gone. Also, I feel like I'm raising another child. This kid is crawling around the sand while his dad plays with the sand in the bucket. Dad, would you please go back to doing the parenting so that I can do some of the childing for a couple of minutes? And then we talk about denial. He's telling the therapist, look, call it denial if you like, but I think what goes on in my personal life is none of my own damn business. And I have something I wanted to read. One of my favorite books when I was learning about adult ADHD comes from some Canadian experts. And they're not just top Canadian experts, they're top experts on ADHD, and that's Dr. Margaret Weiss and her mother, Gabrielle Weiss, and Dr. Hechtman, Lily Hechtman. And they wrote this great book called ADHD in Adulthood, A Guide to Current Theory, Diagnosis, and Treatment. And here's what they said about denial, and I quoted this in the book. Individuals with ADHD are unaware of the behaviors that provoke negative reactions in others. They are aware, however, that others hover around them nagging. The connection between their behavior and this nagging response remains opaque. The white noise of nagging becomes an ever more distant hum while the patients tune out. Meanwhile, their families turn up the volume, becoming even more angry and controlling. And that's kind of a common pattern. And if you go to a couples therapist with that pattern, they're going to miss the ADHD and they're just going to see the angry and controlling partner. And they're going to say, if you just let up on controlling, your partner will step up to the plate. But you often didn't become controlling just because you wanted to, although I imagine that happens. But a lot of people, they're forced into that role.